The Texas Longhorns are national championship contenders after their blowout over Michigan. Let's talk about it here on Four Verts. I'm Harrison Graham. Texas dominates in Ann Arbor against the Michigan Wolverines. They win 31-12. Michigan getting a garbage time touchdown. Otherwise, it was 31-6. And quite frankly, if Steve Sarkisian wanted to embarrass Michigan and put up 45, he probably could have. I mean, they got the ball inside Michigan territory, up 31-6, and ran the ball 3 times and punted. This game was never close. This game was never competitive. Texas was in control from the start. You thought maybe after Texas's opening drive ended in a missed field goal, okay, maybe Michigan's defense settles in. Maybe Michigan can get something going here, but they just never really did. And I'm not surprised by the lack of offensive output from the Wolverines. I thought, they'd score between 10 and 17 points, 10 and 20. I thought their defense would play better. I think that's my biggest takeaway here is not that Texas won, and not even that Texas won somewhat convincingly. It's just that Michigan's defense didn't really have any answers. Like, I thought their defense could keep this a 7 to 10 point game. I picked Michigan to cover when it was 7.5 or 8 points. I thought maybe they'd get a back door. It was pretty clear early that Texas was going to cover, especially since the line got down to 6.5. I should have hammered Texas there, but the Horns are a legitimate team that could win the whole thing. They're just good in all areas. They have an elite quarterback, at least at the college level, in Quinn Ewers, who can make all the throws. They have good enough running backs, although they didn't run the ball that much today. Jaden Blue, Jarrett Gibson were somewhat held in check, but they didn't need to run the ball effectively because Ewers was 24 of 36 for 246 and 3 touchdowns. Smart decisions, which at times has been an issue for him. He'll put the ball in harm's way sometimes, but he didn't do that today. He was smart with the football, got the ball to his playmakers as a lot of different guys made plays. I was really impressed with Gunnar Helm, the tight end, 7 catches, 98 yards and a touchdown. Coming into this game, NFL scouts would have been talking about Colston Loveland, the Michigan tight end, who ended up with 70 yards but had a brutal fumble after he was trying to tuck the ball away, just dropped the ball. How about Gunnar Helm as a future NFL tight end? I thought he looked good. Isaiah Bond had a couple of big plays. I think what stands out is Texas no longer is like this flashy team. They can win with flash. They have speedsters. They can be very explosive, but they can also go on the road against a Big Ten type of team like this that wants to play slow and physical and say, okay, we'll hit you in the mouth. I mean, they hit Michigan in the mouth. A lot of quick completions, get the ball to the tight end, get to the ball to the backs, but then more importantly, and I think this is where Sark has this program taken the next step this year, is they're a legitimate defense now. They have a defensive line that I was a little concerned about with Byron Murphy and T'Vondre Sweat going pro that can stuff the run, and they look fine without those two guys. Their back 7 is excellent. They have a couple new DBs back there who are just flying around. Anthony Hill at linebacker is a stud. There's just no weaknesses on this team. I mean, they're a little thin at the running back position, but as long as they have guys that can catch the football out of the backfield, they don't have to be a run-first team with Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian's creative play calling. I couldn't be more impressed with Texas, and I kind of want to talk about big picture next for both Texas and Michigan moving forward. But first, if you guys want to support this channel, it's free. This is my at-home setup. I know there's a slight lag, but the audio should be coming through okay. But we'll work on getting that improved. But I just had to get on here and react after this big matchup today. Daily college football and NFL coverage here on YouTube for free. We're at like 2,300 subscribers. Let's get to 2,500. If you want more college football videos, hit the subscribe button and shout out your favorite team in the comments section below. All right, big picture now for both Texas and Michigan. You look forward, Texas's schedule coming up. They obviously are going to have some tough games in the SEC, but their next 3 games, UTSA, UL Monroe, Mississippi State, all at home. They'll be 5-0. Then you got the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma. That'll be a big game on October 12th. And then Georgia comes to Austin after that. That 2-week stretch, as long as you really could lose both and still be a playoff team. But as long as Texas splits those 2 games, they're a lock to make the playoff with this win over Michigan. Even if they lose both, they probably get in at 10-2 and maybe even 9-3. But I think this performance proved to me they have entered the national championship conversation, not just making the playoff. Because in a 12-team system, that's kind of the floor of expectations for this Texas team, is getting into the playoff. Like, anything less than that would be a colossal failure. But I think if you're Texas and you're Steve Sarkisian and you're Quinn Ewers and you're Isaiah Bond and you're these guys, you're like, hey, why can't we win the whole thing? We've got the ingredients to do it. We can be explosive offensively. We can hit you in the mouth. We can shut you down defensively. They're good in all 3 areas. They have a good kicker in Burt Auburn. Like, they can win games in a variety of ways, and it wasn't them winning today. It was how they did it. That impressed me. They were more physical. They were better on the key downs. I mean, that opening drive, even though they didn't score, they were like 4 for 4 on 3rd down, including a touchdown pass that got called back because of a hold, and you're just like, 3rd and 11, Quinn Ewers just bailing for the pocket, making throws. Pretty impressive. I think Texas is a lock for the playoff, and I think Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, and I'll still say Oregon. Obviously, they didn't look good against Idaho last week. They play Boise this week. We'll see how that looks. I think those are your top 4 national title contenders right now, and I think Georgia and Texas are the top 2. I think through 2 weeks, I would take Texas over Ohio State. Obviously, a long season to go. We're just getting started here, but this is a legitimate national championship team. For Michigan, and going into the season, when I did my playoff predictions, I did not have Michigan as a playoff team. I thought they would struggle offensively. I thought teams would just stack the box and force them to throw with whoever's playing quarterback. And, I thought Davis Warren down the stretch when Texas kind of just played soft coverage, made some nice plays, but that was well when the game was out of reach. He's just not a Power 4 quarterback, let's be honest. He should be playing, at Miami of Ohio or insert group of 5 program. Great story, cancer survivor, all that. I'm taking nothing away from him. This is just not a playoff level quarterback. Like, they will not make the college football playoff playing this way because teams are just going to force them to throw the ball. And other than Colston Loveland, they don't have any big-time game changers on the outside, and Warren's pretty limited. Alex Orgy's not a very good thrower, but maybe you try to get him more involved into the game plan. They got USC in 2 weeks. I'd pick USC to beat Michigan right now. I really would. They've got at Washington 2 weeks after that. They have Oregon 2 weeks after that. Like, they have Ohio State at the end of the year. I mean, they're going to be underdogs, I think, against USC, Oregon, and Ohio State for sure. That's 3 games. And potentially at Washington as well. They're in trouble, man. I don't think this is a playoff team. And look, it should be somewhat expected. Obviously, Michigan is a program that should be able to retool every year. But they had like 18 pros on last year's team. Jim Harbaugh left. They weren't going to be as good as last year. Now, should they be getting blown out like this, 31-12, and it really wasn't even that close at home? Probably not, but I just wasn't that high on them coming into this year. Like, if they made the playoff, that would be a big accomplishment. Like, they probably need to get to 9-3 to have a chance. USC in 2 weeks is huge, because I still don't think USC is like a powerhouse. It was nice win over LSU last week, but can you slow that offense down and grind out a win at home? I think that's doable, but I know they've beaten Ohio State 3 years in a row. I don't think they have the horses to stay with those guys offensively. I don't think they can beat Oregon, although they do get them at home. Maybe at Washington's winnable, but I still think Jed Fish is going to have that team pretty good. I don't know. Michigan didn't feel like a playoff team coming into the year. They definitely don't right now, but it's a long season ahead. Beat Arkansas State next week, try to get back on track. But again, I think making the 12-team playoff would be like a great accomplishment following a national championship season. And then hopefully you get into the transfer portal, you find some offensive firepower. And that's one thing I tweeted out too. Why was Michigan not more active in the portal for a quarterback? I know they have Jaden, I'm forgetting his name. He's a freshman. They're sitting him this year. But why not go after someone in the portal that gives you a little more juice? I mean, there were guys out there. I don't even think they tried to get Cam Ward. Maybe they couldn't have gotten him compared to what Miami paid him, but yeah, they struggled to move the ball offensively. They don't have big-time playmakers other than Loveland. Offensive line, I haven't even mentioned, isn't nearly as good. And by the way, Michigan's defensive line has a couple of first-round picks on it. Texas neutralized that group, especially in pass protection. That was really impressive from the Longhorns. But Texas wins 31-12. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, not only this year, but moving forward. They are built for the NIL era because they have a lot of funds, and kids like to go to Austin, Texas, and it's the Texas brand still, and Sark seems like a player's coach, and he's got it rolling. He's got it rolling, and, the joke of Texas is back has been out there forever. Last year, they kind of showed, they might be back. Now, they're back. Like, they really, really are back. This is a team that's going to be in the mix every year, just about, barring major injuries at key positions. Because guess what? Arch Manning's waiting in the wings, and he's going to be pretty good next year as well. All right, I'm Harrison Graham. There you have it. A lot more games to come. You got Colorado, Nebraska tonight, NC State, Tennessee. A couple of games in this 2:30 window also, including Iowa, Iowa State. Real quick, I'm just going to check. Arkansas, Oklahoma State in overtime right now. So that's a pretty juicy one as we're wrapping up this video. So we'll see who wins there. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.